Good morning from KUSADASI, Turkey. Last night, as I went to look at the ferry schedules, I found that exactly 0 seats were available on any available ferry. There was kind of inconsistent information regarding getting a ferry over to Samos today. And I can't really tell whether they're doing anything on that Sea Star over there or not, but I found it very confusing. And since there was only about a half-hour window between when any ferry was supposed to depart and when we actually got in, and we even got in a few minutes late, tied up, gangplank down, ready to go. So I think discretion being the better part of valor, we just are not going to make it to Samos Island today. The timeline's too tight. In the distance past that fortress on the island is Samos. So we're going to find something to do today. There's plenty to do, and tonight we got a special surprise as well. I was going to give it away, but you're just going to have to wait and see. It is something very, very special. So, while I've been to KUSADASI many times, I've never really stepped out into town. I've always had somewhere else to go. So I thought I'd just walk up to the little fortress, or as close as I can get to it, and look across the water at the port. There's a photo montage on the little road into the fortress here. Various times in its history. The last one I can date by the cars. This looks like right when the first real port went in, and is a little bit later than the prior photography. We've become somewhat more familiar with the history of the immediate port area here in KUSADASI. An area that occasionally gets earthquakes and other natural disasters, as well as the passage of time contributing towards that which needs to be built and rebuilt. And of course, the needed funds to develop historic sites that are possibly not as well provided for as we're used to in places like the Greek islands. So here we are at the walls of the castle. The outer walls were built later. Built in 1826, so it's really not as old as it appears to be, though the inner building is much earlier. Explains a lot of its quality construction relative to a building built during the time of the Crusaders or Byzantium. We have some interpretations of some of the plant life here as well, not just the building. And fish and sea turtles. As we climb up, the view gets better. Evidently, this is known as Pigeon Island. The castle was fortified in order to defend the harbor, but the walls surrounding were built in 1826. The road we just came across was built in the 1960s for the purposes of restoration, and the last restoration of the fortress or the castle was in about 10 years ago. So it ought to be in really great shape. Here we have the ancient settlement of Anaya. There's a Byzantine monastery. And the myrtle tree. Quite a contrast. We continue to climb upwards. Here we have birdhouses and an olive tree. We have arrived to a very impressive view. Sadly, it's chained and padlocked. But a great view, worth the climb. I think if we walk around, no health and safety banisters here, much as in the ancient sites. Evidently a little concert stage venue here. Really a nice spot. Once again, health and safety would have a problem with that. I don't. Railings spoil the view. And then we go down into a sort of park towards the other side of the outer walls. And we'll just go around the perimeter a bit. And just following the 1826 outer walls around. And we have this interesting little set of steps to, I suppose, what you could call a parapet. And you notice also little places where ostensibly a guard or a shooter would be firing on the port in the early days, and maybe not so early days, depending on what threats have come to this port. But we'll go up to one of these parapets for a look. If nothing else, a nice view of the Azamara ship and the downtown area of KUSADASI. Popular spot for I love you graffiti. But we are still following the walls. And in this case we have to go up slightly to go back down. But a really nice garden area here with the trees and the information about them and the birds. Oh, a little piece of coastal defense cannon, a remnant, probably dug out during one of the restorations. But again, a very nice, very nice venue. Another cannon and an oleander tree. Once again, in stark contrast. Just another spectacular view as we exit the walls of the castle, and just turning around for a last look at the stairs that go up to the outside tower. And to the hill across the water. Really great views on a beautiful day in KUSADASI. Well, a preview of coming attractions, and I'm not going to tell you why they're coming attractions. Thank you very much. But Ephesus, the ancient city, very close to here, somewhere I've been a number of times before. It's just fun to see all of this here. There's a lot here in this immediate area. So, having been here any number of times, I can only say that if you've not been here, you owe it to yourself to come. We're very fortunate to be able to be invited to come to the special concert at the Odeon tonight. But a full tour, if you've never been to the Ephesus site and have any interest in history, be it ancient history or religious history, there are so many reasons to come here.
And Ephesus is one of the best preserved examples of the Greco-Roman city all over the world. And there's no other city like that so well preserved and so well standing. It's just because of the earthquake. First, they were Lydians, Carians, Lydians, Seljukians, Byzantines. The very first inhabitant in Ephesus, they were the Amazon ladies, by the way. Have you heard about Amazons? Those are the big, huge ladies. They only have their man till the time they got a baby. After they got a baby, they always find a way to get rid of their man. This is the first people in Ephesus. They lived nearby. They were also the Andropos and his friends from the Athens. They were the first people who lived in Ephesus as well. So we have the Greco-Roman city. First Greeks, later on Romans, later on Byzantines. And Ephesus was abandoned because of the earthquake in 800 AD. You know, you heard about it. Your guides mentioned about it to you maybe today. Destroyed the whole Asia Minor, not only Ephesus. There's two earthquake faults. One on the north, one on the south. Ephesus, this is where we are. But this earthquake happened, affected whole Asia Minor. The whole Asia Minor was destroyed. And I'm sure you heard about the recent earthquakes. Yes, in Turkey, what happened? That was in this region. Why it was so destructive? Why it was so, caused so much catastrophe? The reason, this earthquake faults across this country. There is an Arabic Delta earthquake faults goes to the Mediterranean Sea. So the very first one was under here at the southern earthquake faults, and that was, maybe a few buildings, not much, damages at all. And then suddenly the Arabic earthquake faults, which just push each other, and the second one after 10 hours, and hit the whole area here. More than 20 million people were affected in the recent earthquake. So the earthquake I'm talking about is the southern part of the earthquake in Ephesus. That was about 880. And they do the simulation about what could cause so much damage. With this simulation, and they do the same thing, and they find out that that must be over 11 magnitudes, so that can destroy one for homes, all from stone and all from marble. Actually, that's what destroyed the whole Asia Minor. So from 800 till 1869, ladies and gentlemen, everything was underground. So 800, the last people, they lived in Ephesus. Then 1869, John Churchill came over as engineer to work for the railway in between Aden and Isberg. While he was working for the railway, he just discovered the Temple of Artemis, became an archaeologist, and then he took most part of this Temple of Artemis back to British Museum. Think about a temple about 420 feet length, 220 feet width, 127 pillars, with the Diptera style, the biggest, the oldest, the greatest temple that's ever been built in mankind history. Used to be in Ephesus till 1869. Actually, what happened, John Turton Wood, he went to England, and he felt guilty about what he did, because he took those most part of it without the permission from the Sultan at that time, and he decided to come back again, and this time he admitted what he did was wrong. He went to the Sultan, apologized from the Sultan. He just said, I want to work the rest of my life if you let me, because this place has got Temple of Artemis. If there's a Temple of Artemis, there must be some active cities around. And then the Sultans forgive him, and Sultan make him a jest, give him a tip, gave him a village, almost like 25 square miles village. And this is your village. You have your team, you have people who will do whatever you like. And he just started digging in Ephesus. This is how Ephesus is unearthed. So those people, they see the Ephesus today. The excavation started with John Turtle Wood. He's a British engineer. He came to work for the railway in between the cities Aydın and Izmir. Then later on he became an archaeologist. And the second one was the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. That was the tomb, belongs to the Emperor Mausoleum. That's the reason why today poor people's grave is called Mausoleum. And discovered by German archaeologist KUSADASI in 1891. And today also in the Bodrum Halicarnassus there's a big hole in the place of the Temple of Artemis. And the stones from the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus was used by the Knights of St. John. The Knights of St. John, they are very strict Catholics, gathered from Europe together, from Spain, from Italy, from Germany, from France. And they gathered together, and after their island Rhodos was invaded, they came to the Bodrum Halicarnassus. They went to build the castle, and so they need the stone. So instead of carving the stone from the stone mines, what they did, they turned down the temple, the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, to build the castle of St. Peter's in Bodrum. So two of them, they were in Turkey, but unfortunately today we don't see any of those. Maybe the places of them. And also the same thing, and I'll be showing you where the place of the Temple of Artemis is. I know some of you have been there, and some guys, they haven't been seen the Ephesus, so I'm just giving those information to those guys that haven't been to Ephesus today. So, this is Asia Minor. Asia Minor. This is the historical name of Turkey. This is Anatolia, and here is Mesopotamia. Tarsus is here. Who's from Tarsus? St. Paul. St. Paul came to Ephesus about 4 times. He spent more than 10 years in Ephesus. Actually, he preached in the theater of Ephesus. While we go to the Ephesus from the airport area, you will be able to see the theater. This is the theater in the Bible, Acts 19, where St. Paul preached the Ephesians. So here's the thing, St. Paul came 4 times. Each time he came, he told people not to believe anymore the stones and statues, because the Ephesians, they used to believe the stones and statues of Artemis. And is a statue, is a lady statue with the eggs on chest, and so this is what people, they believe as the goddess of fertility, goddess of ladies, and goddess of hunters. So St. Paul is coming to Ephesus and telling the people, you really believe real God. What you believe is stone. It cannot create you. But there is a silversmith named Demetrius. He was selling the fake statues of Artemis. After the preaching of St. Paul, his business went down. And they make business out of it. They don't want their business to finish, so they gathered people of Ephesians in the theater and made them to protest the symbol. So this is one of the events happening in Ephesus. So today, if you read the Bible, Acts 19, we'll be talking about Ephesians. And Ephesus is also a city that Jesus and St. John, St. Paul, they all came. Jesus wrote the letters, and St. John wrote the letters. The Church of Revelation. I'm sure you heard about those. Church of Smyrna, Church of Sardis, Church of Fellowship, Church of Pocket, Church of Death, and so on. They are all in Asia Minor. So somehow later on, 334 AD, ladies and gentlemen, Roma accepted Christianity as an official religion. Then Ephesus became the capital of the Roman Empire in Asia province, and so in between Egypt to the Roma, there is an island of Rhodes in Mediterranean Sea. That's the ancient travel business. And then they go to the Roma. So Alexandria, Rhodes, Ephesus, and then some islands on the way, and they get food supply, drink supply, whatever. They go to the Roma. And then if they like to go to the Egypt, all from Egypt, from Roma, they come some islands in Aegean Sea, and then Ephesus, from Ephesus, Rhodes back to Alexandria. So then what they usually do, because in ancient days there is no sales, travel business wasn't like today. So they have a sailboat, so 45 to 50 people, they can only get on those sailboats. So there's not hundreds of sailboats they can go to overseas. So if you come to the Ephesus in the ancient world, you have to wait 3 months, sometimes 4 months. So then people, they bring some stuffs from Egypt, if they come from Roma, So they rent the shops, and in front of the Odeon that we're going to see it, you're going to see the huge bazaar area, the permanent shops. They rent all those shops, and then they make business. So foreigners and visitors, they start business in Ephesus, and Ephesus became the capital of the trade 2,000 years ago. And then all Roman emperors, Hadrians, Trajans, and Mark Antonius, Cleopatras, Domitians, all Roman emperors, they were very interested in Ephesus because this is where they make a lot of money. So Ephesus was part of the Roman Empire, and under the heavy taxes. But Ephesus developed well because sometimes not just reducing the taxes. The Ephesians, they try to please their emperors when they come to visit them. So then, for instance, the Emperor Hadrian, he was charging the people if the ladies, they dye their hair. If the men like to have a long hair, they pay extra taxes. So they always build the monuments and temples for them. This is how Ephesus became a very popular city, and then they had really great royal family shops. And today's we have New York Times Square, and Ephesus was just like a Times Square 2,100 years ago, and everybody fancied to come in because of the great shopping and shows, entertainments, and gladiator fights, and so this prosperity lasted until this biggest earthquake. As you realize, those they've been to Ephesus, I'm sure you heard about Asia Minor. Asia Minor, as you realize, there's nothing here. No industries, no factories, and the people, they always do agriculture. All kind of fruits, tangerines, oranges, apricots, almonds, apples, all kind of vegetables, whatever you wish to grow. The main crop is cotton, silk, and agriculture. Tourism, the coastline of the Asia Minor, also Mediterranean coastline, and 2 to 3% is for tourism. That's what they do for a living, tourism.
I hope you enjoyed all the sights and sounds of KUSADASI. Thanks for watching Travel with Chip. Please subscribe and share. Appreciate all your support. And we'll see you tomorrow in Patmos, Greece.